This video is for my lab, so watch at your own peril. So for this lab, we were tasked with designing a COVID screening temperature sensing device. In lieu of the worldwide pandemic, I suppose. It needed to have at least 2 subsystems. I needed to ask someone in the medical field about what sort of constraints and requirements a temperature scanner of this sort needed, our stakeholder. And then I need to provide a compelling video defending my design over other designs and why it meets the requirements laid out by the medical professional I talked to. I interviewed Brooke for my medical stakeholder. She's a 3rd-year student studying radiological technologies. It's very cool. She's participating in her clinicals right now. She's around this kind of stuff all the time. I talked to her about it. She told me temperature scanners need to be able to tell the person what temperature someone else is. Awfully important. They have to have some kind of a signal that alerts the user if the person they're scanning is over 100 degrees because they could have a fever and have COVID. Makes a lot of sense. She also talked to me about the importance of accuracy. You don't have an accurate instrument, a few degrees makes the whole difference here if someone has a fever or not. Furthermore, a big problem she told me with IR was the way that outside temperature can affect your skin temperature. For instance, on a hot sunny day, you could come inside from a warm day and you might be 96 degrees or 95 degrees. She told me this happened to her all the time in the summer. In the winter, it goes the other way. It could be 20 degrees outside and you'd come in and be 90, 91 degrees, 92 degrees. If you really had a fever, that could be masked. So you either have to wait 5 to 10 minutes for the person to acclimate to the room temperature, or you have to scan them in the wrist, she says they do, or the arm. However, these positions aren't necessarily fully indicative of your core body temp. They're very far away from the core. So there are some problems with IR, not to mention if you are sweating, the water can change your reflectivity to IR light. I took all of this into account when I designed my temperature sensor. Really, I chose between infrared, or non-contact temperature scanning, and more generic, run-of-the-mill, what you're used to, scanning with contact thermometer. In the end, I chose the contact thermometer because I thought the temperature thermometer would solve the problem of having to wait for people to acclimate to the room temperature. Because if you had a contact thermometer you could stick under someone's tongue real fast, you could get a good reading in 10 or 20 seconds, and you could send them on. So that would solve that problem of high climate variability. Cold, hot outside, IR sensors might not be as reliable as you might think. And an IR sensor is just a simple infrared sensor. You point at someone's head, it scans their temperature. 92.3. Pretty cool, actually. I'm gonna go stand outside, though. It's about 21 out here right now. Okay, I've been out here long enough. So now if we scan me, see this? 85. I'm sure I'll warm up in a second. Anyhow, if I had a fever, you wouldn't know. And I was only out there for less than 5 minutes. Alright, now that we're done with our daily dose of anecdotal evidence, let me move on to the design I chose. So this is the completely capacitively powered temperature sensor I made. It has a probe right here, fits in this cute little sleeve, has the temperature sensor on the end. This is the part you put in the mouth at a distance. It has this wire so you can stand far away. This is the on and off indicator LED. Turn it on. It has a display which displays the temperature it's reading at the end of the probe. Each one of these bars represents 0.52 degrees Fahrenheit. The patient's over 100 degrees. The last 2 will light up with this very menacing red LED indicator on this display sheet. Powered by an MSP430 microcontroller, buck converter to convert the voltage from the capacitors. The probe is connected right here, so if you have a broken probe you can just disconnect it, take it off, and see the whole thing maxes out when you disconnect the probe, put it back in. It has a battery life of about 110 days. It takes about 11 minutes to charge with a good USB charger, 10 watt USB charger. Fits in the hand quite well. Has your thumb up here. Right. The procedure for using this, imagine that it is not menacing looking and it's in a nice case. This is an actual medical thermometer tip. You would hand this to the person coming in the door. They would take it. It had have a plastic sheath on it on the wire. You'd be holding this and looking at it, and they would take the thermometer, put it under their tongue. You get a good reading in about 20 seconds. I'm going to put it on the heat lamp so you can see what it might look like. That'd be alright. That would be a problem. That's the difference between 96 and 100 degrees right there. The purpose of this long extension cable with the sensor on the end is so that you don't have to stand too close to them during this whole procedure. You can hand them the probe, they can put it under their tongue with the sheath on it, then they can hand it back to you and you can replace the sheath. That is how it kind of gets around the spreading of germs problem. Pretty nifty little device.